Rockstars, I'm Jessica Clemons, and a couple days ago, Netflix released the teaser trailer for the 4th and final season of Umbrella Academy premiering August 8th. They premiered this teaser trailer at 8 p.m. and we were all up in arms because we thought it would come out at noon. I thought it was gonna come out at 8 a.m. No, it's 8 p.m. I was already in bed. People in Brazil were going to sleep. What are you doing? Well, today I'll be breaking down the season 4 teaser trailer for all the missed details and Easter eggs you might have missed. But before we close our umbrellas for good, check out nerdriot.shop where you can always find the latest and greatest in your Rockstars merch, gear up for the next big movie of the summer, Deadpool and Wolverine, or show your love for the Force and some Star Wars inspired merch. Grabbing some merch from nerdriot.shop is a great way to support the channel and all the work that we do here, breaking down all these properties for you each and every week, each and every day. As a heads up, I will include possible spoilers from the interviews and the comics, but in the end, I'll allude to the biggest possible spoiler that the showrunner and creator Steve Blackman has already alluded to. But I'll warn you when we get there so you can look away or run or do whatever you want. As a little recap, because I know y'all need a recap as much as I do, in season 1, Victor goes bomb mode with their powers destroying the mansion and killing family advisor Pogo. Rip our monkey king. He's not a monkey. Either way, you know what I mean. Victor becomes the apocalypse and shatters the moon, so 5 initiates traveling back in time to fix them, and as the world is consumed, they escape into the past. Season 2 is centered around their lives in the 1960s as 5's powers work successfully, but unfortunately, it spits each of the siblings out different days, months, or even years. This is also the season where we start calling Elliot Page's character Victor, and they come out to their siblings. JFK's assassination also plays a big part in the second season, with Diego determined to stop it. This leads to an FBI building exploding in Dallas before JFK is meant to be killed. They assume it was the Soviets, but it was actually Victor who loses their powers and lashes out again, which leads to another apocalypse. Luckily, Ben is able to stop it in ghost form and correct the timeline. The Hargraves try to use a suitcase to transport themselves back to 2019, trying to arrive one day after the apocalypse caused by Victor in season 1, though it backfires. And season 3 revolves around the siblings in 2019, though in a new timeline where their father runs the Sparrow Academy instead of the Umbrella Academy. One of the children, if you want to even call them that, is Christopher, who suddenly explodes and reopens the Kugelblitz. It's a thing that will collapse all of existence. It's a time anomaly caused by the crossing timelines. As existence is slowly fleeting, they find out within the Hotel Obsidian is a portal to the universe's reset button. Allison hits the reset button and we're taken to the rebuilt universe, and everyone has lost their powers. They go their separate ways while the new Reginald and his wife look over the city and Ben rides a train in Seoul. Okay, now let's get into the trailer. We open the trailer with Ben and Klaus walking down a corridor with plastic on the walls. This looks like the mansion, so they returned at some point. This leads us to the Hargraves' home for wayward boys. This prop was found a while ago and led to speculation that this could be a wayward home that 5 is imprisoned in and will eventually escape from in the first episode. In an interview with the showrunner, Steve Blackman did mention this new timeline has been dictated by Reginald, who reprogrammed the universe at the end of season 3 finale, but because of Allison's actions, he didn't get to finish what he started. So the siblings losing their powers isn't going to be the only oddity in this timeline. Deadline also released some plot info. In it, they said, Father Reginald, alive and well, has stepped out of the shadows and into the public eye, overseeing a powerful, nefarious business empire. In the finale of season 3, we see everything is owned by the Hargraves, so it makes sense this wayward home is one of those nefarious businesses, and 5 is stuck there. Then we see 5 waits with shaggy hair, no more short shorts for the subway, and we know the subway will be a major plot for this season, which I'll get into shortly. During this, Sir Reginald Hargraves is explaining how our world is changing. This monologue he actually gave in season 1, episode 1, after the kids saved the hostages from the bank robbery. It feels like this is full circle moment, that we're going back to the beginning to put an end to this once again. The family have literally been everywhere, and it all ends back here. That's when we get the first little notes for the final countdown by Europe, reminding us this is the final timeline. By now, we recognize we're seeing how everyone is existing without their powers. We see Victor working at a bar as a bartender, and we know the themes will always land on family, but this season there will be a focus also on the theme of, are you better without your powers? In the Entertainment Weekly press coverage, they mention how Victor will actually enjoy a world without their powers, because you know, 9 times out of 10, they're the biggest threat in destroying the entire universe. The first episode for the new season is titled The Unbearable Tragedy of Getting What You Want, and the team usually is groaning about having their powers, and it's understandable. Their powers led to them living together, being forced into this family, doing all this weird work. Their powers usually getting them in trouble. He finally takes away their powers, and how does it feel? And it turns out they probably all hate it. To Hargraves, this was a gift. Some see it as a gift, though some may see it as a curse. So it makes sense that like none of them really like their powers and some do. We see Allison, and this must be her daughter Claire. Last we saw Allison before she hit the reset button, everyone's powers were being sucked out by the machine and Luther was dead. Allison had made a deal with Reginald, and I assume that deal was if they reset the world, she would get her family back regardless. I think Allison still has her powers because she came back in the finale of last season bandaged and injured, where everyone else came back fully healed. Everyone else sort of got their reset but her. Ben is getting out of prison, and in season 3, that left off with Ben's cliffhanger. Ben was on the train that his mother was giving birth on, and it seems like it's the same as the opening scene in episode 1 of season 3. And I have a theory theory on this Ben that coincides with the subway train, which again, I'll get to shortly. You just gotta hold on for a second longer. Then we see Diego and what I assume is his and Lila's daughter. Unfortunately, we don't really see Lila in this shot, but I hope she's still gathered with Diego. In the Deadline release plot info, they alluded to them living in this time for a bit with varying degrees of success, so there's a chance Lila and Diego have split up in this moment. This piñata was also featured in their birthday post on October 1st. They were delivering Easter eggs before we even knew it. Then we see Luther post-ape body gearing up in an astronaut suit. This could be a decoy, or he's actually surprising Diego's daughter at the birthday party, or maybe he's just looking for Sloane. Sloane was Luther's wife from the last season that didn't show up with the rest of the gang, so she could simply be lost to time or lost within this timeline. Then we cut to Klaus hanging upside down, and I assume this is in the mansion. He's wearing the same clothes he entered in at the start of the trailer, but this could also be Klaus levitating like he's able to do in the comics. By season 3, Klaus became very powerful and it was revealed that he's immortal. Though it seems in restoring their powers, they each will get a small little boosted upgrade, and we might be able to see some of those comic accurate powers come out. We get a wide shot of them in winter at a single telephone booth as the full family they are, just no Sloane though. Luther is taking a photo of them with this very, very old, thin, flat point and shoot like the ones from the 60s, like you know which one I'm talking about. Luther is perfectly beefed up here, so he might have regained his powers, but also his ape body again. Luther and his ape body to his skinny body just keep going back and forth in the trailer. Behind Luther is Diego's sweet ride named Wanda. Entertainment Weekly revealed some photos from season 4 and Wanda was in the background, and I just love this family portrait. Isn't it really just a true family portrait? We get them overhead walking as a team. They're back as a unit. They're parked in front of a dry cleaning truck. What's that about? Diego cheerfully or weirdly chants, "We're back!" And it's their first mission back, and it doesn't seem that they have all fully restored their powers. This is a rescue mission, and I think this scene and this scene with them taking their portrait are at the same time. I believe Diego just has an extra pair of his hero clothes waiting, sitting in the van, ready for action, which honestly would be a very Diego thing to do. Entertainment Weekly shared an image of them around the same time, but the van is now destroyed and Klaus is pointing at Lila, and they have Cha-Cha's mask in the front, though none are really fazed about the van's wreckage. So this may be something to do with Lila's powers or bursts of oddities that are happening randomly because this universe is unfinished. There's a chance they might have collided with our new original characters, Dr. Jean and Jean, played by Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman. Of course, the duo is entertaining to watch as toxic exes in Parks and Rec. I think it's a little different here. They both play mild-mannered Midwestern community college professors, though from the release snippet of episode 1 script, they feel like multiverse archaeologists, collecting like weird things from different timelines. In the script, they find a pile of random VHS tapes, t-shirts from the 2000 Olympics in New York, which was actually held in Sydney, and a button supporting JFK for a third term, so there's a timeline where he's alive now? Since these weirdos are collecting things, this could have just fell out of their cars during the wreck. Klaus hyperventilates into a brown paper bag, and this scene just reminds me of season 2, episode 10, when they all squeeze into Victor's car. It's funny because Klaus always has to be near Allison in the car rides, I guess, and Five's gotta be on the front and Luther in the back. It's like they're kids again. This swiftly segues us into the final countdown, and we see the Minerva. This was used in the comics by Reginald DeFly, just like all over the place. It's coming out of their mansion, their home. This one is just much more upgraded and nice than the last one we saw. One of the things that makes great stories great is the world building, the little tidbits here and there that make you feel like there's a full fleshed out universe beyond what the story needs to move along. If you're a creative, that kind of deep world building is a major goal, and worldanvil.com can help you achieve it. World Anvil is the ultimate all-in-one software for tabletop gamers, fantasy novelists, and anyone who loves creative world building. If you're writing a novel, World Anvil's novel planner and writing software is super helpful, allowing you to rearrange scenes and chapters with a drag and drop interface, as well as features for publishing, subscription, and monetization. Plus, World Anvil lets you build interactive maps, family trees, and timelines to help you keep track of everything going on behind the scenes in the world you're building. And if you're a GM, World Anvil has a digital GM screen and campaign manager with support for more than 45 tabletop RPG systems, including a robust library of character sheets and stat blocks. If you're trying to build a world of your own, head to worldanvil.com today or click the link in the description, use code NEWROCKSTARS, and you'll get 51% off any premium subscription. This is when we see the subway station again. Five is now with Lila, but the subway is very, very peculiar, and I'm going to get into it finally. I'm so excited. We finished the 3rd season with Ben on a train during his mother's delivery, seemingly watching his mom give birth to himself on October 1st. Blackman has confirmed this is the Sparrow Ben, but Sparrow Ben feels completely different from this Ben we're currently seeing in the trailer. This Ben feels lost, displaced, depressed, and reckless, which could be the result of seeing your mom give birth to you, absolutely, but I think it's because the subway is now used to navigate timelines. Promotional material was released that follows the subway map timeline and multiverse branching. Those specific colors show up on the promo art for season 4 along with Ben's tentacles. Orange for Ben, green for Klaus, yellow for Luther, and red for Diego. I think Sparrow Ben is in another timeline hashing things out that can butterfly effect or displace the Ben we're seeing right now in the trailer. The promo has Ben's tentacles reaching out of the dumpster that has marigolds leaking from the bottom and pouring from the top. I think Sparrow Ben is doing more harm than good, possibly even stopping the Seven from existing in some timelines. This is just my theory because it feels like a very Ben-centric season. I need a Ben-centric season. I need to see everything that happens to Ben. I believe Lila using her powers in match 5's blinking. She'll follow 5 here, and this will lead them to where we see another apocalypse-like disaster. Later, we see Lila and 5 exiting the subway to straight destruction, and this could be the 2019 apocalypse caused by Victor. This could also just be a new one, though now we know the subway can and will take you somewhere else in another time. I think the codes and languages on the walls are from the Commissioner's language, the folks that oversaw and managed the space-time continuum. These symbols I just could not find anywhere on the internet, so I think it's just language that's deciphered for the Commissioners. Luther and Allison then step out of the van at what I believe is Reginald's new home. 3 guards patrol the entrance, and there's also this weird statue of children sitting, crisscross covering their ears, one on the ground looking up, one holding another one, and one standing above the rest shielding them. Steve Blackman shared a storyboard with a woman floating and causing a lot of wreckage, and the powers look like Victor's, but they don't really dress like this. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's Sloan, and this is the person they think they're gonna rescue on the mission. Back at the mansion, we see Dad Diego, shaggy-haired 5, Lila in the back, Klaus still wearing their gloves, and Luther wearing a silk robe that makes me very uncomfortable because it's like he's a stripper in this timeline showing his monkey body off. He has different outfits through the trailer, so it wouldn't be surprising. Victor's in the middle of punching Ben because you can see the hood on their jacket that's collared. That's Ben wearing that hood in the trailer. Sir Reginald Hardgraves is drinking, having a conversation with Victor, and we see the Christmas lights behind them reminding us it's Christmas time during season 4. 5's about to be punched by Diego, who is screaming stop and looks terrified. Lila tries breaking it up, and I think this scene has Allison using her powers on them. Allison freaking out in the car, a nice car at that, and we also haven't seen her in this outfit yet throughout the trailer, so this scene could be taken at her house perhaps. A burger joint that sells guns. In the release deadline plot, they also said a mysterious association known as the Keepers holds clandestine meetings believing the reality they're living in is a lie and a great reckoning is coming. This could be that group. 5 is holding Lila as she bawls her little eyes out. Now, the internet is questioning why she's crying. Is it because 5 showed her a timeline where Diego dies? Does Diego just die in front of her? I think it's important to note that I believe she's wearing Victor's jacket or a very similar one. This scene comes right after Victor saying this.
But when things go to hell, they're there for me.
Victor may have sacrificed themselves to protect Lila, or Lila has become very close with Victor and watched them get hurt, though I think the jacket is a nice little observation and takeaway. A blue room with Sir Reginald Hardgraves. He's putting these covers on Allison, then we see Lila put a pair over Diego. The room goes from blue to red, like a good story to a villainous story, and there's a woman standing behind Reginald. At first, I thought this was his wife from the 3rd season finale, but the hair is much more flowy, and the woman doesn't look as old. I think this might be Sloan. There's a chance it could be Grace, but I think it's Sloan. Luther and Diego do a little handshake gleefully, and I like that Diego has these random blue cuffs that normally go to like a suit. Where's the rest of the suit? Where's the shirt? 5's powers are back, and his blinks are now purple, and I believe they were blue before. Also, this might be just me and how the editing is done, but when 5 blinks, it looks like his comic version of himself. I've been mentioning Christmas a lot, so it's no surprise we're gonna be seeing a gunslinging Santa Claus. We get an upside down, inside out Umbrella Academy tattoo, and I think this is on Klaus's arm. We see Klaus holding a seance, which I love because he's technically like a walking, living seance, so who is he trying to connect to? Or is he attempting to connect before his powers came back? We see the Minerva flying into what I think is an iron or coal mine. It's not fire though, these are flames from it just like being on and working. We see Victor using fire, this is a new upgrade, and now this scene could be Victor causing the apocalypse again, but these sort of resemble Luther's gloves, and this could be Sloan's upgraded powers as well. I could still see this being Victor overall. There's just a lot of theories to take in. Someone's trying to escape Reginald. He's using this hunting rifle, which is scary. I think this is Luther having snuck in earlier. He's just being thwarted by Reginald now. Diego throws a woman through a window in an office building, and then Ben pulling a soldier with his tentacles, murdering people. And what's insane is Ben's tentacles are now on his back instead of in his abdomen. It's honestly cool as hell, but the look on his face furthers my theory that Ben might be up to something. So what do we know that's coming to season 4 that wasn't really released in the teaser trailer? Well, the showrunner and writer Steve Blackman has already shared on Instagram the title of the finale for the season, The End of the Beginning. We're gonna go full circle, correcting time in every everything to restore the world to what it once was, going forward from there, even if one of the core members possibly die. I'm not saying they're gonna die, but I'm just saying if Diego does die, they're gonna go forward. Netflix posed the question why the married pair of mild-mannered Midwestern community college professors are willing to pay $5,000 for a VHS tape of one of Allison's movies, Love on Loan. So not only are the new characters, community college professors, but possibly they can navigate the multiverse, and Allison's movies have left a major impression on them that can lead to her demise or the entire family's demise. In addition to Nick Offerman and Megan Mullaley's characters, we'll also have David Cross's new character, Cy Grossman, an upstanding but shy business owner and family man. Cy is desperate to reconnect with his estranged and unnamed daughter. He will stop at nothing to get her back. Okay, this is now when I talk about the spoiler, so if you don't want the huge spoiler, go away. Okay, now let's talk about it. You might have noticed a spoiler if you paid really, really close attention, or it might have just gone over your head like it did with me, or you just forgot it. We didn't really talk about it, but in an interview about season 3, Steve Blackman was asked, what would you like to do with season 4? He responded, one of the graphic novel's biggest mysteries. I don't want to say it, but it was one of the ones that fans will probably figure it out. He also mentioned in an interview with IGN about season 4, we're gonna go full circle with some things that the fans are like, please just tell us the answer to this. That's what next year's going to be about, is really coming to the end of certain things. And I believe the mystery and full circle moment is finding out Reginald is actually an alien. In season 1, episode 10, we saw Reginald and a dying woman. He then releases these yellow sparkles, they're called the marigolds, that impregnate the women. We never really discussed him being an alien, what his agenda is, and why he's doing all of this. So I feel like a great cumulative moment that's a full circle moment is answering why and for what reason is there an Umbrella Academy and who are you? And that's it for my breakdown for the Umbrella Academy's final season. This is set to release Netflix August 8th. Let me know how excited you are for the show and Sparrow Ben. Let me know what you think the major mystery will be, because I might be wrong, who knows? Follow me at Lulu_Clemons and subscribe to all 3 channels in the new Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. I'll see you guys later.